AITA for enforcing basic boundaries on my daughter's sleepover? I 42M, have 2 kids living with me, my daughter Anya, 17F, and my stepson Noah, 14M. Noah's mom passed a few years ago, and I've had full custody since. He's had a rough go of it, but he's a good kid, with his quirks. He's not antisocial or shy, but he does not appreciate having his space invaded, and when very upset, he can kinda shut down. Anya is much more outgoing and has a lot of friends. She asked to have a sleepover this weekend with 4 of them. I said yes, of course, but given that the friends who were coming were pretty loud and have a tendency to crowd Noah, I told her to make sure they don't go into her brother's room. Also to keep things down after 11, so that the house can sleep. In my opinion, these are not strict rules. To my surprise, I came upstairs to check on them at about 10. They are 17, I didn't think I needed to check on them every hour or something, and they were in Noah's room. And they looked like they'd been there a while. 2 were literally sitting on his bed, with him there, one of them was flipping through his sketchbook, another was messing with his other stuff, and they were all kind of giggling in this weird way. Noah was clearly upset, he didn't say anything/move, but there were tears in his eyes and he didn't respond when I tried to talk to him. I told the girls to get out right then, and that I was calling every single one of their parents. Anya was pretty upset with me, but I told her that I gave them 2 rules and they failed spectacularly. I did actually call all of their parents, and sent them home as soon as possible. Anya blew up, saying I embarrassed her. I told her to go to her room, and that we would speak on this in the morning. I spent about 20 minutes with Noah, before he decided he wanted to cool down on his own, and I went back to my daughter, who chose not to speak to me. It's late, both of my kids are, hopefully, asleep, and I'm left not knowing if I handled things right. AITA? You handled things perfectly okay. You set very reasonable rules and your daughter decided to not care and upset Noah. I'll ground her. She doesn't care to have embarrassed Noah, but she sure cares that she couldn't get her way. What was she expecting after she broke the rules? And the precedent to be set if there were no consequences. Not only for breaking the rules, but for continuing to violate someone's boundaries while they are visibly uncomfortable. She will encounter all sorts of people with different issues/trauma, and she needs to recognize when she's crossing a line. One thing I want to point out is how this may be something Noah thinks about a lot moving forward in life. You stood up for him against your daughter. You're a real kid. As a teen boy living with a stepfather and stepsister, you have to wonder if he thinks you view them equally. You just proved to him that you do. He's as much your son as your daughter. You absolutely handled this the right way. Your daughter was an inconsiderate brat. Consequences, man shrugging emoji. As long as you follow through and are consistent with both kids, then you're doing a great job. Holy hell, NTA. And it's honestly strange that 4 17-year girls decided to spend their evening harassing a 14-year boy. Yeah, total mean girl vibes going on. Wonder if Op really knows who his daughter's friends are. And her for that matter. I kinda want to know what the parents said when they were called. You can tell a lot from that. You can't handle this yourself? You know we've been drinking, right? Because the kids are out of the house, we broke out the tarp and the gallon of Wesson oil. If she's never shown this behavior before, then Op has just learned something about his daughter that no parent wishes for their child to be. A bully. Now Op has to work out the best way of protecting his youngest child from the bully that's living under the same roof as them. She'll be 18 soon and he can legally tell her to leave the house. Perhaps such a threat will make her buck up her ideas. NTA. Your daughter needs to be punished. I have several older brothers. I never went into their rooms and they never went into mine. It seems like common decency and common sense not to encroach on other people's privacy. They 100% went into his room to tease him. And that's disgusting. Your daughter would probably be absolutely furious if the roles were reversed and him and his friends went through her room. There needs to be consequences for her actions, she is too old to be acting like this. NTA, this is some of the best parenting I have seen in a long time and I do this sort of thing for a living. You handled this perfectly, and your daughter needs to reflect on what she did to him in his safe space. If she can't understand, then let her know for the next week her room is open to the public for you guys to flip through her personal things with her friends. She's far too old to lack empathy, so don't let up or give in at all to her. NTA, you handled this responsibly. You set rules, the girls broke them, and Noah was clearly upset, which the girls intentionally ignored. The rules were broken and you sent them home. This does two things. Anya learned that her breaking the rules has consequences, a very important concept to learn as a teenager about to become a legal adult. Noah learned that you will protect him. He is without a mom, and this helps him know that you do care about him and will protect him. I am sure that you know this, but he is young and we all need reassurance. Very good job, Op. I am sure Anya is upset, but that is because of her own actions. Noah is upset because his sister intentionally hurt him. Those are different things, and you did the right thing in correcting the former child and protecting the latter child. Edit. I have never gotten an award before and now I have 4, thanks y'all. NTA, but Anya needs further consequences. She outright defied you to the detriment of her brother. There was no reason for them to do that other than to make him uncomfortable. Grounding, removing access to her phone, something. I work with teens. You can spot the ones not being disciplined from a mile away. The fact that she's punishing you with the silent treatment tells you that A, she still doesn't believe she's wrong, B, she doesn't respect you or your rules, and C, she could not care less about putting her stepbrother in a bad situation. Time to show her that actions have consequences. NTA. In my opinion, your daughter caused this outcome. You were clear with her on what the expectations were and chose not to follow one of them. She's 17, and it's time she learns what accountability is. She's going to be an adult soon, so behaving like a child won't get her far. I would have ended the sleepover right then as well. Noah is his own person, and has his own feelings. Those were heavily invaded, and that is unfair to him. Anya and her friends had so many other options of places to hang out other than on his room. NTA, but you have an older sibling bullying a younger sibling scenario on your hands. As well as a daughter who is a jerk in general, since she clearly intentionally broke that rule only because you gave it to her. Like she went out of her way to do this to him and you. Appropriate response, but there is a much deeper issue here. It sounds like your daughter is a mean girl, or aspires to be one. She hurt Noah on purpose, they all did. NTA for protecting your son. He deserves better than the way his sister and her friends treated him. Are you sure your daughter isn't angry at Noah for taking away her only child status? NTA, they mean girl ganged up on him in the place that should be his most private and safest. I would consider changing boundaries with your daughter's friends in your Hummer to no sleepovers, and they're not allowed to go upstairs. At all. Your daughter violated your rules and her brother's safety, privacy, autonomy and comfort. Who knows how far their torturing him would have gone if you were asleep rather than awake? As for her friends, they are just as culpable. They bullied your son. Whether or not your daughter told them the 2 rules, what they did was invasive, invalidating and hurtful to your son. They think it's fun to bully and force another person to have their space and privacy violated. Your son needs and deserves the full support of the adults in the home to protect his boundaries. And honestly, you did what you had to. You stood up for your son when he couldn't speak. Your daughter and her friends, at 17, are more than capable of following rules. Your sister knows her brother has issues. She and her friends purposely broke your rules just to antagonize him because they knew he wouldn't fight back. Your daughter and her friends are bullies, plain and simple. It was a tough situation and you handled it well. You showed your son that you will always have his back. And you showed daughter that there are consequences for bullying her brother? Make sure he's got a lock on his door. Is he okay? Put him in jiu-jitsu or something to give him confidence. Most 14-year-old boys would snark back to a bunch of girls. You might want to have a convo with him. The girls deserve to go home, but also you need to do something about both kids, your daughter not listening and being a bully and your son not sticking up for himself and just taking it, not being vocal,